Part 2, the land of why. This topic of affairs, which is very prevalent in our world, and it's interesting. Many people don't really want to talk about it yet. It is a thing for so many couples. And that doesn't matter whether you're dating, living together, what level of commitment you're in. Cheating it's there. It is there, and it is a big piece of a lot of relationship. So over the course of, this next series here that I'm doing, which is part two, the land of why I was a mistress. Was a mistress. It was really, truly, it's a thing of the past there. It's something that I would never want to explore again, that's for sure. I will start off with that is like, definitely not something that I would want to put myself into again. So today I'm going to share with you, as who's the bad guy in affairs? Who is always the bad guy in affairs? Well, there's two bad guys in the affairs. And funny enough, one bad guy is worse than the other bad guy. The worst bad guy in an affair is whoever the other person is. That other person, the mistress. They are the worst evil, the worst morally wrong, uncaring, self-centered. How dare they? They did this. They're the home wrecker. They're the relationship wrecker. They're the one that just, they came in and they messed this up. They are the evil, horrible person. That is the mistress, whether that is male or female. It is the person that our partner cheats with. Okay? They are the ones. They are the ultimate bad guy. Okay? Then the second bad guy is the cheater, right? They're the bad guy because, they cheated and they hurt us and they wounded us and they did this and that, right? And then there is the victim, the wounded, the victim who had nothing to do with any of it. They are innocent here. And that's the person who got cheated on. Okay? So I share this on the front side of this because this is the way we view affairs. This is the way we view relationship, and when somebody steps out of the relationship, breaks that commitment container. It's the wounded, the bad guy who's our partner, and then the very evil bad guy who, how could they do this? They knew that she was married. They knew this, they knew that, right? Okay, so today's tale, personal, vulnerable, raw, real tale for you is around why I was a mistress. Now I'm going to give you the good and the bad of it, okay? I'm going to give you that perspective from the mistress perspective. Yesterday I shared about me cheating in my marriage at 5-6 years into the marriage, and a little tidbits on that and like what was going on, the reasons behind cheating affairs, how it is always a two-way street. Now today I'm going to talk about, fast forward in my relationship life, I'm no longer married, okay? And you can say, go figure, you cheated, Kendal, back there. Well, it was another 10, 12 years where we, in that relationship, in my marriage, we went another decade plus, and there was no cheating, there was no other people, there was nothing. I guilted, shamed myself. I was trying to make things right. I put my head down. I wanted to focus on the relationship, all this different stuff, right? And I just went into that just hardcore. And I went 10, 12 years. I don't know the exact timeline there. Years, very, very long ago already. So focusing in on that, wanting to better that relationship, right? Well, my partner was not on board with me, okay? That's a whole nother story. So here we are. I get to a point in my marriage where I come back and I say, I want a divorce. This time, there's not another person playing a role and I'm still standing in integrity. I'm still trying to be right and true, transparent about where I'm at, what I'm feeling. So I come to him and I go, we need to separate. I want a divorce. Okay. And from that moment, we, like I told you yesterday, you know, we were broke, our marriage. We were broke. Okay. And when I say broke, I mean broke like you would not believe. I came to him and I said, we can't afford a divorce. So, and we've got 5 kids we can't afford a divorce. We have a house. I'm the primary breadwinner in this moment. He's got a commission work going. And I was going, okay, so let's take some time here. Let's look at the next year and a half maybe, where we can co-parent in the house. You're going to be single. I'm going to be single. We need to save to make this divorce happen. And let's just see. You move to the office. I keep the bedroom, vice versa, whatever works, right? So that's what we did. That's what we did. Drew the line in the sand and said, we're done. So there was no couple stuff going on from that moment forward. And I felt good about it. And I knew that I needed to explore me. I needed to figure out who I was. I had very limited relationship experience, sexual experience. You know, I had 3 sexual partners. Not that that's a bad thing or a good thing. It just was. But it was very limited. And I just really did not know myself. And I didn't know what I wanted in relationship. I didn't know if I even wanted relationship. I've been in this marriage for, 16, 17 years, and it was not fulfilling. It was nothing but 16, 17 years of stress and chaos and anxiety and just, So I kind of was on the front of, I'm not going to get into relationship. Because back then, I viewed it as though if you're just hooking up with somebody, that's not relationship, right? And we have this concept of, I just hooked up with her. Oh, they're just my, my buddy. And we just connect here and there. It's not really a relationship. True as that might be, that it's not a relationship because we're not making future plans, we're not having the deep intimacy, the vulnerability, the conversations, the communication with it, we are still in relationship. Anybody that we bring into our life, especially at an intimate level, we are in some sort of relationship with, okay? So, then, I didn't understand that, okay? I didn't have that concept there. I thought, much like everybody else thinks, well, we can just hook up with people. I can learn myself. I can explore sex. I can explore, men, and I can learn about what I want, what I don't want, if I want, and that's cool. I'm going to do it in integrity. Okay. So I was wanting to be extremely ethical about everything. So there I was, and I met a couple men. Go figure. Woman meets a couple men. I'm up front with them. I'm not looking for relationship. Never really dated before. My husband and I didn't date. My high school boyfriend and I didn't date. There wasn't courting going on. The man that I had an affair with, there was a little bit of flirtatious little courting, but there was nothing. There was not what you would consider in our dating world of let's go to the movies, let's go on a little adventure, let's go out to eat, didn't happen. Never experienced that. Okay. So I was really wanting to learn about courtship, dating. I wanted to be wined and dined. I wanted to be romanced. I wanted what you see in the movies. And I got a lot of it. I did. I got a ton of it. So much of it that I ended up with 11 boyfriends of it. Okay? And I had those 11 boyfriends for 18 months, 2 years, something like that. I shrunk it down towards the end, piece there, and ended up in a couple serious, and that was the door opener to my why I became poly, right? So I opened that door up through this multiple dating of these 11 men in complete and total authenticity, integrity with them. So I was being completely transparent. I'm not in it for this. I'm not in it for that. Don't look at relationship for me. A couple people got serious, and one guy, sweet as he was, it's a death word for men, by the way, he was such a sweet boy. And that was his problem, was he was a sweet boy. We dated more serious. I got a little bit more focused on him, made him what you would say my primary. And we had a great a little over a year and a half relationship there until we didn't have a great relationship. He wanted more from me than what I was willing to give. Well, in the midst of that, some of those early relationships, guess what? I drew in married men. So, why I was a mistress? Well, I drew in a couple married men. One married man, he was in a relationship, and his relationship, they were open and communicative about things, and so it wasn't him cheating on her. They had agreements in place. She had her boyfriends around the world, and he was looking for one person that he just could have good conversations with, enjoy time with, build a bonding with, but not have a marriage with, not have that committed container, but somebody that he really legitimately liked. So that was great. He taught me so much over the course of time, and really opened me up to different viewpoints in a lot of different areas of life. So extreme gratitude to him for that. But then there was this other, and with him, I got into a few situations with those 11 men where some of them lied to me. They didn't tell me that they were married, and they were. And that I had a problem with, because they lied to me about that. And funny enough, I was okay with this one particular man who I was a mistress I was his mistress for 3.5 years. And it was freaking amazing in a lot of ways. It was beautiful in a lot of ways. I really ate it up as far as the connection goes, as far as our moments together. He opened me up to so much that internally that I didn't even know existed. And I really started to have feelings for him, but I knew that there's this container. And I prided myself. I am one of those people that wants to get it right and doesn't want to mess things up. Funny enough, I know here I am confessing affairs, confessing being a mistress. I got a lot more confessionals for you over this 10 series thing. But at the same time, I did not want to get things wrong. I was on a path, much like I still am, of evolving at a soul level, understanding energetics, understanding connections. And yeah, this man, he brought a lot of that to the table. Now, I knew that he was cheating on his wife. He had told me that he was in a sexless marriage. We talked about a lot of different things. Man, it was hot between us. It was romantic between us. It was humorous between us. He always was put on the best for me. And I love that. After being in a marriage where I really saw a lot of the worst all the time, and the worst was really not fun, this was a change. There was a certain addictiveness to it that I just couldn't say no to. And, morally wrong. I'm not saying that being a mistress is a good idea, okay? My point here, just like I said yesterday, cheating is not okay. Being a mistress is probably not okay to a lot of people. But being a mistress doesn't mean that you're necessarily the bad guy on it. Not the really evil bad guy. We had plenty of conversations, him and I, around his marriage, and me making suggestions about things, him confiding in me about things, wanting to work things out. End result was he got a divorce, and I became his number one. Some ways that was like really amazing, right? So I thought that relationship was evolving. Well, it went 6 years more, and it was great until it was over. And then it was over, and as quickly as it came, it left. It really was. It was just like gone. But it was a beautiful, beautiful 8-9 years there of connection. Why I was a mistress, and why I was okay with being a mistress there, and even in the other scenario where the other man was communicative with his wife, and everything was on full reveal, was because I was not wanting relationship. I was not wanting to get connected, to be attached, to overly get into the difficult conversations, the vulnerabilities, the intimacy. There are different formats of vulnerability and intimacy and even heart-centeredness that you can get into with somebody. That is different degrees of it when you are connecting and you don't have we're making life plans. We're gonna be there to the end day with each other. There's a certain amount of space that allows for you to actually kind of lean in different ways, because you're not fearing the loss of the relationship, because it's just temporary. You know your place as a mistress. You know what's going on, and you know that it's leaving. It's leaving. This is not a permanent thing. I'm not trying to make it permanent. And what I get from it is I get all the best of this other person. They are showing up for me, not like they would ever show up for their significant other. Probably the reason why they're having the trouble there, right? I mean, like, that's it. They're not showing up. The courtship's not happening. But as I shared yesterday, affairs are a two-way street. The person who got cheated on is not off the hook by any means. There's stuff going on there that makes our partners want to explore outside the relationship. And for the majority of people, they are only exploring outside the relationship after quite a time frame. And I can tell you, I deal with this consistently with couples where I have people sit down on my couch and they talk to me about this, and they're like, I don't want to cheat on him or her. I don't want to. But it's been 6 years. It's been 10 years. It's been years of this consistent pattern, years of shutdown, years of disconnect, years of emotional outbursts, years of pain, years of not wanting to work on it, years of just trying to disregard and ignore, brush it under the carpet, right? And then they're saying, they're like, I'm dying in all these ways, and I'm right there. Now you could say, well, why doesn't that person, or why doesn't this man that I'm talking about, that I was his mistress for 3 years, why did he stay in the relationship? Why does anybody stay in the relationship? Well, tomorrow I'm going to be doing actually, I don't know. We're going camping. I may not do one tomorrow, so axe that. It might be Monday. My next part 3 is why I stayed married. Okay, so I'm going to share with you that viewpoint of why did I stay married when things were so bad? Well, what I can tell you from what I learned from this man, and even the man who opened up in relationship, that and from my own past experience, is that the reason why you stay married, there's much like the reason for cheating, it is very unique to the person, and there is no one answer. But the majority of the answers will fall underneath a few things. A lot of it comes back to children, family, finances, okay, property, the financial obligations that have happened, a certain level of comfort, an obligation to the other person, because we've been here this long and this piece is missing, but I don't want to hurt you, but at the same time, I'm dying. And so I'm going to try to take care of myself in some way. A lot of people are scared to talk to their partners about challenges, or they've tried so much and they've just been shut down that it's defeating. They just go, I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, and I'm being ignored. I'm being told it doesn't matter. I'm being told this, I'm being told that. There's a lot of people that ask for therapy and coaching before they ever cheat, and their partner refuses to get help, refuses to see their part in any of it. Okay? Now, these conversations that I'm sharing with you guys, this is from the take of two people who are trying to do relationship, and it's from the aspect of not somebody that's just looking for the quick hit of sex. Okay, this is not, because there's plenty of cheaters out there who that's why do they cheat? Because they can. Okay, that's prevalent out there as well. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people who actually give a shit about their partner, want the relationship, are, guilted and shamed by their actions, fearful of different things, concerned, wanting to get things right, and just being very human about their existence and what's happening. Okay, so I'm trying to kind of decriminalize those people just a little bit, so that it's like that's not. There's always more to the story. We get so caught up on these little things and like, oh, you're a bad guy because you did this, and it's not true. That's just ignoring the root cause of the problem. And if we want to have better relationships, if we want to prevent our affairs in the relationship, if we want to have healthy, happy, successful relationships, then we cannot just disregard our part in anything. We have to get very real with that. We have to have conversations. They're gonna rise up emotions. There's gonna be differences. There's things that have to get worked out. So I loved being a mistress. I thought it was great. I thought it was great for the reasons I just shared. I got the best of him. I'm focusing on this one, but of the other guy too. I got the best. I got the romantic time. I got the gifts. I got the conscious touch. I got the hours of snuggling and love making and sipping wine and listening to music and the travel and the everything that the fairy tale I got. And I got it because I wasn't requesting more. I wasn't presenting my shit to them. They didn't have to deal with my emotional outbursts. They didn't have to deal with my lack of insecurities. They didn't have to deal with my kids' drama, my family drama, my health shit, my financial worries, my business building exhaustion. Why? Because I only had to show up once or twice a week with this person, and they only had to show up once or twice a week with me. And you know what? Hair was always done, makeup always perfect, always smelled fresh and clean, shaved legs, beautiful clothes, smile on my face, elevated, ignited, turned on, excited, because there was a little mini vacation coming. It was this little mini vacation, and it was a mirage of reality. But that's reality. It was pretty yummy in the aspect that it was a mirage, and when you're out there walking in the desert and no water in sight, wow, some stuff can look really good. So yeah, I got the best of them, they got the best of me, and then we parted. We parted ways and we would go do life. And there wasn't this, I need to text you, I need to know where you're at, I need to, what's going on here, what's going on there, the conversation, so what's stressing you out, why are you in a bad mood? None of that. None of that. There was none of the household stuff. There was none of the business stuff. Because we can put our worries and our concerns in our back pocket for a few hours. And you can just sink in right here and really soak up what feels so good. So here's the thing. This is also why people cheat, okay? Because all of that gets exhausting. And it's extra exhausting when our partner doesn't want to play a role with us, doesn't want to be a partner, doesn't want to show up, or you walk in the door from work or from whatever you've been doing and you get hit instantaneously with criticism, judgment, yelling, fighting, or just being ignored. Stonewalling. Yes, stonewalling. Stonewalling will send your partner off to the land of somebody else so quick. So quick, because you know why we do relationship? We do relationship because we want to be seen. We want to be appreciated. We want to be accepted. We want to feel connected and united. That's why we do relationship. We don't do relationship because we want to be ignored. Anybody can be ignored. I mean, any of us can just go freaking grab a tent and go sit out and, go camping and sit at a campground all by yourself and be ignored, right? You can be ignored 1,000,001 ways. The last place you want to be ignored is in your intimate relationship. This person that you are wanting or trying to do life with. So stonewalling. Stonewalling is a big one. The whole mistress aspect, as much as we want to say that that's the bad person, right? Here's the reality behind cheating. If somebody's going to cheat, who's the worst person? The person who, do you really trust your partner if you're saying that person made you cheat? They're the bad person. They made you cheat. You wouldn't have cheated if that person hadn't come into the picture. I differ because I've experienced things before. And I can tell you that when you're hungry, you're hungry. And you don't get hungry just because somebody walks by you with food. If your stomach is gurgling and you're hungry and you haven't eaten, then you're looking for the food. The food is not at fault, right? But that's what we do in these situations when we look at the mistress, the other person. They are the bad guy. And it is interesting. The bad guy is the person who decides to cheat, and the other bad guy is the person who supported the cheating by not being in relationship with that person anymore, because that's 9 out of 10 affairs. It is the couple. It's not that third person. Now, with that said, is it morally wrong? Is it morally wrong if you know that somebody is in a relationship to agree to have sex with them and to, support their messed up situation? The me in today says yes. Yeah. You're helping create a bad story. But that person's going to go do it with somebody no matter what. So, it's kind of the whole what will be, and they're going to do it anyway. But so it's really where that person is at. And there's plenty of single people out there who are just, that carefree, just, I'm not worried about it. I'm not here for a relationship. I don't really care about that scenario. I'm going to get mine, and that's that with that. And that is that position. And I can tell you that where I'm talking about, and we're moving back, 10, 12 years. Okay. So this is the year after separation with my then husband. And what I'm talking about is that's where I was at. I was in this completely self-centered learning, unconcerned about other individuals' stuff, because I was just learning me. And that was that space. So, would I recommend being a mistress? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend being a mistress. Man or woman, I'd say don't do it. I'd say hold to your values. You're better than that. Hold to your values. Don't cave into that. If you're wanting to go do something with somebody that's not married. If you're married, if you're in a relationship like that, have the conversations with your partner before stepping out on your partner. At least try. Yes, I see, Kenneth, just be honest. Just be honest. Right, there is the just be honest. And from the mistress perspective, I can say, yeah, it's the just be honest. Those guys who I didn't know were married, and then I found out were married, I dumped them. That was later on in this progression, by the way. That wasn't early on. It was later on in the progression. I had a couple, people that I dated there, and it felt wrong. Now, as much as it's not right, it still happens. And the point of this series is to awaken to the reality of that it happens. Here's why. Here's what's going on in the cheater's head. Here's what's going on in the mistress's head. Potentially. Okay? Potentially. And if you're that person that's listening and going, well, my partner cheated on me, or that bitch, she stole my man, and blah, 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 blah. Or that guy is coming on to my girl and going to lead her astray. All I can say is, come back to you. Come back to the entity of us, which I keep talking about. That entity of us. If you can't have faith in the entity of us, then there's conversations that have to happen. There's time that has to happen. You've got to give way to some different things. If you're constantly looking at somebody's going to steal, or that person is evil over there, look no further than your own backyard, and your partner is in your backyard. So have the conversations, get clean on things, transparency. What's the fear? What's the trigger? What's the programs that's come up? I can tell you that our past relationships, they are with us on the forefront of the relationship that anybody is in any given moment. You bear with you every past relationship that you have ever had. Now, you're not sitting there dissecting it like that. Well, unless you're me, I tend to do things like that. I look at it and I go, oh my God, that's that relationship. Oh my gosh, this happened here. Oh my God, that happened there. And I'm trying to unpack it quicker than and it's coming in so fast sometimes. But I can tell you that you have to recognize that a lot of the shit that you go into in relationship, the fear, the trauma cycles that we experience, the judgments, the jealousy. I hear a lot of jealousy stuff, all that. It's all based in ego, based in fear, not based in love, not based in trust, not based in even freaking reality of what's going on. And we miss our partner in those moments, and we start with a whole bunch of assumptions, right? Well, if we don't communicate and connect and have those difficult conversations and focus in on the entity of us in these times, what we end up doing is pushing our partner away, right? I have a couple couples that I'm working with right now that is the exact case. They're so focused on the past program. They're so focused on the fear. They're so focused on seeing disconnect, on not having that person show up for them, that they can't see how this person is standing right there going, here I am. Here I am. And what they're doing is they're creating exactly what they don't want. They're pushing that person so far away, and they're missing them because they're not seeing them. They're seeing this vision of something that they don't want. And it's created from the movies that are playing out in their head that are triggering emotions and thoughts, which creates reactive nature. And it's all baggage. It's all this old baggage. And you can think you're above it, you can think you're past it, you can think all this stuff. I can tell you what, when you are in intimate relationship, one of the main purposes, my belief, and what a lot of therapists, coaches, educators, spiritual gurus out there speak of, is just this. Our intimate relationships, they are the clarifying agent. They are defining who we are. They are there to purge us of all this shit. It's supposed to be triggering, okay? Relationship is supposed to trigger the fuck out of us. And then we're supposed to be able to come back and work through it and clear out what is not us, what is not needed. Heal. That's what healing is our relationships are kind of like pouring peroxide on an open wound, right? But there's an infection there, and we just don't realize that there's an infection there. And it's all that old garbage. And then we get into the relationship, and we pour the peroxide on, and it festers, and it bubbles, and it hurts. And we're like, damn. But that's how we get to clear and to who we are, and get right with ourselves, and work through our inner land of crap. And you know what we do? Here's the other thing that we do in relationship. We always pull in the perfect pressure person, the perfect agitator, right? In short-term, long-term relationship, it's always the perfect agitator that we get. Because whatever we're really needing to work on, whatever we're really needing to heal, we're going to pull that person in that matches us, and that is there to actually help us heal, help us pull stuff up, right? In some relationships, you'll hear me say this over a season, a reason, or a lifetime, right? Or a reason, a season, or a lifetime. There's plenty of reason-based relationships. I've had a slew of them. And there's plenty of season-based relationships. Those are just a little bit less. The lifetime relationship, though, is not going to be the easiest relationship. The soulmate relationship is not the easiest relationship. It is not organic chocolate, wine, roses, and unicorns, farting out pixie dust or something. That's just like, that's unrealistic. The best relationship is the relationship that applies pressure that is needed for you to birth into the radiant diamond that you are. That's the best relationship. But that pressure has to be there for you to be able to clarify it. And yeah, so would I recommend somebody being a mistress? No, absolutely not. Am I grateful for the 3 years spent there being a mistress? Yeah, I am. I learned a lot. And you know what? I learned I don't ever want to do that again. I learned that, hey, this is great for where I was at. That was great because I didn't want depth. I didn't want this unpacking of me. I wanted to learn things. I wanted to experience things. I didn't want the bonding, the connection, the depth, the vulnerability, the transparency, the attachment, the all this stuff. I didn't want that weight on me. I had just come out of a shit show of a marriage, and I didn't want that. So I got exactly what I needed, and I learned from it. But for those who are out there like, oh, the mistress is such an evil person, that's the worst person to deal with. No. If your partner's going to cheat, your partner's going to cheat. And the reason your partner's going to cheat is between the two of you, not between the two of them. Okay? So it's time to get real and right with you and the entity of us and have those conversations. You know, and if you are the mistress out there, the other person, check yourself on what are you gaining? How are you enabling? Is this the best for you long term? And you know, just get right with yourself and be truthful with that other person. There is a lot to say about integrity. There's a lot to say about being ethical about things, you know, and transparency to the best of your ability is all you can ever do. But I can tell you that that does help heal so much. So hopefully you got something out of this. I feel sometimes a little chaotic on these. I will go back through and read your comments because I'm not going to scroll right this very second and make some silly face in the camera while I'm trying to read your comments. So I will respond though. So yeah. So next one up is why I stayed married. That's the next number 3. Why I stayed married. I'm going to share all about that. Why do people stay in marriages that are hopeless or in relationships that are hopeless that they don't want to be in? As you know, you hear that a lot. So that's what's coming. Stay tuned for that. If you got something out of this, if I said something that touched you in some way, please leave your comments, give me your loves, your likes, hit the share button, share this with somebody, you know, maybe I just gave you a different perspective on cheating, on affairs, on the other person. And most importantly, what I hope you gain from this is that no matter how much we want to say, I'm not responsible for that, it's their fault. No. If you love this person in your life, if you love yourself, if you want a relationship, no matter what relationship that is, realize that you are responsible for the relationship. You are responsible for the engagement, the conversations, your reactions, your emotions, being consciously aware of your own shit and how you're dealing with it and how that is actually projecting to the other person, because projection is one of the key components to causing issues in relationship, and we don't catch it. We don't catch it because projection is a really hard thing to catch. It requires a lot of mental, emotional paying attention. It's tough. You're not going to get it right 100% of the time, but you can get it right a little bit better each day. You can be a little bit more aware each day. You can be a little bit more in integrity each day. You can be a little bit more transparent, communicative. You can try new things. You can shut up and listen. You can do so much. And if the relationship really truly is something that you want to salvage, that you want to heal, that you want to expand, evolve, and just really thrive in, then that's the work that is required no matter what has happened back there. Okay? And no relationship that is worth something is going to be easy. Okay? There you have it. There's my 2 cents on it. Okay. Hit the share button, give the loves, the likes, the comments. I love you guys. I will catch you with part 3 either tomorrow or on Monday, somewhere in there. We're off to go camping, so I might just take the weekend off. Probably will. Not promising that I'm going to be on here over the weekend. So I love you guys. If you are interested in learning about events that are coming up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, those are on my events page at kendalwilliams.com, or you can message me. I'll be happy to send you any details on anything there. I do have events around these topics and more. Couplehood, how to adult in relationship. Like that's November. I've got my quantum integration work coming up in October. Beautiful pathways to relationships, I think, is in January, and then I'm doing a body rhythm, so all about the vagus nerve in December. Lots of exciting workshops coming up to help you improve your life, improve your relationship, and thrive in all areas. So I love you guys. Reach out to me for anything that you might need. Tons of specials. As always, remember, you are worthy of a beautiful relationship. You are worthy of that soulmate relationship, of having everything that you want and to call it in. So stop existing, start living, expect more, and it will show up. Love you guys.